buena y amorosa, color bronce de mestizo. Mezcla del indio del pueblo donde salió un genízaro. Con sus cantos penetrantes de cuadros espirituales, alaban la santa tierra que de todos es la madre.
Las Cruces, New Mexico, a small city that is quickly on the rise. New homes, rising buildings, and bright lights help make this one of the fastest growing communities in the Southwest. Throughout the city, you hear the sounds of growth. But just a stone's throw away, sounds of a 100-year tradition are coming to life. It's the beginning of the 3-day ceremony held honoring Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe. The fiesta begins with the image of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe being carried from its normal resting place in La Capilla to La Casa de Pueblo. It's here where these people will worship, pray, and dance before the Virgin throughout the entire night. Founded in 1852, Tortugas, New Mexico is a small village that sits on the outskirts of Las Cruces, just south of New Mexico State University and I-10. There are many theories on how Tortugas, Spanish for turtle or tortoise, got its name. Some say it's from Tortugas Mountain, or because many of the people who first settled there were old and slow.
The one that's probably right is that the village sits right on the edge of what was an old oxbow of the Rio Grande, and it was filled with turtles and fish and other kinds of things. And when they settled there, there were literally thousands of turtles, and I'm sure this is why the name came into being.
According to historian Pat Beckett, the culture and traditions of Tortugas are an amalgamation of the Hispanic and Indian customs of the El Paso area. Although Tortugas is not a traditional Indian pueblo, a number of its residents are of Indian descent.
The people themselves originally came from the Paso del Norte region, which is modern-day Juarez, and it's a conglomeration of a number of Indian groups.
In 1659, Fray Garcia de San Francisco, from what was then Senecu, New Mexico, established the mission of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe in present-day Juarez. Piro Indians were brought in from Senecu to help in the conversion of Manso and Suma Indians, and later Tiwa and Champiro Indians to Christianity. Intermixed with their Hispanic neighbors and intermarried within the tribes, many customs and religious beliefs of the groups became intertwined and indistinguishable from each other, including their Guadalupe Day Ceremonies. As civil wars and political disturbances caused the situation in Mexico to deteriorate some traditional ceremonies, the groups traveled north to the Las Cruces area to celebrate and maintain their Indian identity. The traditional dances, once performed before the ancient Guadalupe mission, were now given before St. Genevieve's Church. In 1910, the group, now called Los Enditos de las Cruces, moved their families and their traditional Guadalupe Day ceremonies to the village of Tortugas, which was obtained by a land grant by the U.S. government. Over the years, the customs and traditions became an integral part of the village and Las Cruces. Well after sundown, many faithful pack in for the velorio or rosary at the Casa de Pueblo. With not even standing room left, many will tough it out in the cold. Being such a sacred ceremony, video cameras nor flash photography are allowed from inside the building. The all-night prayers are only interrupted by the danzantes and the sounds of gunfire. 2 men with shotguns stand outside blasting gunfire into the air to signal changes in the ceremony, to represent joy and exuberance and to scare off evil spirits. Some don't really care for the age-old tradition. Many line up to pray and give thanks to the Virgin. This entire fiesta, which is celebrated throughout the Americas, is dedicated to her.
She intercedes for people. She represents Jesus Christ. She's not one to be adored. She's not God. She's not a goddess, but she represents God. And she's one of the highest saints to whom people can go and ask her to pray for them.
For the Native Americans, her story is especially meaningful.
Because she appeared to one of theirs, an Indian, and also because she spoke an Indian language. She didn't speak to Juan Diego in the Spanish language, nor in Latin, nor in any modern language. She spoke to him in Nahuatl, the Aztec language.
It all began in 1531, when it is said that the mother of Jesus appeared before an Indian peasant named Juan Diego on Tepeyac Hill in Mexico City. Mary told Juan to go to the bishop and ask that a church be built on a hill so she could be close to her people. The bishop, who wasn't convinced, asked Juan to provide proof of his vision. Juan returned to Tepeyac Hill and found roses growing where there had only been cacti. Juan wrapped the roses in his cloak and took them to the bishop. When he unfolded his cloak to reveal the roses, the image of Mary was imprinted on the fabric. The bishop was convinced, and the chapel was built.
Immediately, the image was the cause of many miracles in Mexico, and it became the patroness of not only of Mexico, but all of the Americas.
During the velorio, everyone is invited down the street to the Casa de Comida. Here the people warm up with a hot drink and a bite to eat. Throughout the 3-day ceremony, hundreds of people will enjoy many traditional meals here, and all of it for free.
We don't charge for this meal at all. We feel like it's part of our tradition to have other people share in our meal.
You could say the heart of the fiesta lies here at the Casa de Comida. The untold story of the fiesta is the dedication, preparation, and work of the people that make this all possible.
Today we're preparing our bizcochos that we serve on the 12th of December. That's our big feast. Well, it's the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And this is tradition every year. They make, I don't know how many, maybe 30 or more so pounds of bizcochos.
The corporation Los Indígenas de Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe is responsible for organizing the fiesta. One of their toughest tasks? Food preparation. Corporation members, church members, their families, and outside volunteers work diligently to get everything ready.
You know, we all come together as a community, and it's really great.
The help of these students goes beyond gratitude.
We're students from Oñata High School, and we volunteer with Honor Society. Our sponsor, she comes to the church here, so she gives us different opportunities to like help in the community. And this is one of the ones that we do. It's yearly.
Oh, that's too thick.
That is way too thick.
We need to like
Way too thick. We always look forward to coming, whether it's cleaning or just coming to see how they are. They're always very friendly, very open.
And I think some of them have just grown to become part of our family. Actually, I don't know even if they had extra credit or not, if they'd still come in.
You want it about that thick, so so it's consistent in the oven. They all bake at the same time and don't burn.
For Fernando de la Rosa, who is aspiring to study culinary arts, this is great practice for the future chef.
It was either between this or engineering, but I wanted to do something that was fun. So, I love cooking, so that's how I came into the profession of going to culinary arts.
Another big task is the preparation of the meat.
Part of the meat will be used for the stew that we make on the 10th of December, and the other will be used for the chile colorado that we make for the December 12th meal.
Over 300 pounds of meat will be cut, bagged, weighed, and stored. Come fiesta time, everything is finally cooked and served to the delight of everyone.
When they first asked us if we wanted to be mayordomos, to me it was very hard, but then we talked about it and we finally agree on it to go ahead and take that big responsibility.
Of all the work and dedication that goes into the fiesta, no one has a bigger responsibility than that of the mayordomos.
Mayordomos have a unique role in the fact that they're responsible for the whole year, for not only the church, but La Casa de Comida, keeping the building clean, getting it ready for the fiestas, getting money procured so that they can have the fiesta, plus a lot of religious things that go along with the task.
The Tortugas Pueblo will play host to thousands of people come December for 3 entire days. The two couples that are chosen each year to serve as mayordomos will have to work together to organize and perform a long list of tasks in preparation for the Guadalupe Day Ceremonies.
This is like an honor to be a mayordomo, even though it's a lot of work.
You have to get, start preparing, buying fabric, doing the decorating, ordering stuff, and, toward the end of the year, it's really, really busy.
The mayordomos always excel. They do it with pride. It's a big sacrifice for them. I'm sure it means many meetings and time away from home, away from their families. So every year we have very responsible mayordomos, who is another word would be stewards of this fiesta.
Today, the mayordomas have the honor of dressing the Virgin.
It's like they say on that joke, how many people does it take to screw in a light bulb?
That's what we're doing right here.
Each year, they choose a new decorative ensemble for her. This figure of Mary and Juan Diego will be carried by the mayordomos during the fiesta's procession ceremonies.
Modela to your right.
Felipe and Katie Chavez have served as mayordomos many times throughout the years. This year, they will also serve as mentors to the first-time mayordomos, Ray and Sally Hernandez.
And I knew what it involved because, you help every year, but when it really comes down to taking care of the books and taking care of everything itself, it can be nerve-wracking. It did make me nervous because I really didn't know how even to begin. So that's why it's important to have a mentor, a couple that's done it before.
Many members choose not to be mayordomos because of all the work and responsibility that is involved. But for the Chavezes, serving as mayordomo goes beyond the work and even the honor.
Actually, doing this to also keep the traditions and the customs of this pueblo.
For Katie, she believes the experience has been a blessing in disguise.
I've had 2 real tough surgeries, which when they asked me to be Mardoyoma, to be a sponsor, I told them no a couple of times because I've had back surgery and neck surgery, and I told them no.
Doctors informed Katie that her spinal cord was closing. They told her she could become paralyzed and never walk again.
But they kept coming back and coming back. Finally, the 3rd time I said, well, maybe, it's a blessing that they're asking me to do it, because the doctor told me I wasn't going to walk. I was going to be paralyzed. And I said, no, maybe if I do it, I'll keep walking. And it's been, a blessing for me, because I'm still walking, I'm still here. And if it wouldn't be for the Virgen that I'm serving, maybe I wouldn't be walking.
The all-night velorio at the Casa del Pueblo finishes up and marks the end of the first day of the Guadalupe Day Ceremonies. Concurrently, the second day of the ceremonies is already beginning at the Santuario. Many faithful will go these 2 days with little to no sleep at all. At dawn, hundreds will begin their pilgrimage up Tortugas mountain, which is more commonly known to the Las Cruces community as A Mountain. Those who stick to tradition will begin their journey starting from the Santuario. Led by the Capitanes, they begin their 4-mile pilgrimage. Everyone takes part in this pilgrimage for different reasons, many to honor the Virgin, many to give thanks.
Para pedirle a la Virgen por todos mis hijos y darle gracias porque me trajo a mi hijo de Afganistán.
Most of all, many do it to fulfill their promesas.
Well, the promesa is, for instance, as an example, say that I had a family member that was very ill, or if I was ill myself, and I just would make a promise to the Virgen, if you will see me through this, I will climb the mountain.
Yes, people make promesas. They make promises that if a favor is granted by God, that they will fulfill their promise of climbing up the mountain and making the sacrifice. It's just a traditional way of praying. In other words, God, please do this for me, and I'll do this for you.
They have something to ask the Virgen that's so deep inside that somebody has got hurt, cancer, something like this, and they're asking the Virgen for help.
The Martinez family traveled hundreds of miles from California to fulfill the promise their father made to the Virgin years ago.
The promises with the daughters were fulfilled, and he thought he didn't have to climb the mountain and go to New Mexico anymore. And then my brother got spinal meningitis, and they gave him the last rites. Didn't think he was going to make it. And my dad said, if he makes it, I will climb the mountain for the rest of my life. So he did.
Every year, the Martinez family made the pilgrimage with their father, Nando Martinez. Nando was well known by everyone within the Fiesta. This year would be very emotional for the Martinez family. It would be the first time they make the climb without their father.
It's been hard. We feel his spirit, and last night was really hard. People are asking us where my dad is because he's been here every year. And so we had to tell him that he passed away in October.
Some take their promesas to another level.
A big sacrifice is some of them go barefooted all the way, and they won't stop.
When you walk up there barefoot, you're showing that, hey, you really are suffering. You really are going to prove to the Virgin that you are serious about what you want to achieve.
Now at the base of the mountain, the people stop to rest as the capitanes issue instructions for the upcoming climb.
And we don't want people to desecrate our mountains. That's why we fight hard not to have bike trails and that kind of thing, because Tortugas Mountain is very, very sacred to us. We used to have the three trails that went up. Traditionally, the women used to go up the middle of the mountain, all the way up. They were led by one of the capitanes. It is probably the hardest climb. I don't know why they sent the women on the hardest climb. And the men would go on the south and the north side, and they would build luminarias on the way up, and on the way back, they would light the luminarias. We will try to follow that as much as possible.
With just less than half a mile to go, the most difficult part of the journey has now begun.
Made it, Chief.
Finally reaching the top of Tortugas Mountain, it's now time to rest and enjoy the view. Many will spend most of their time on the mountain praying to the Virgin. From lighthearted to emotional, each prayer is unique.
We're praying for our basketball team so we could all be together so we could play.
We just lost our dad, and he was our softball coach. He raised all of us. We cry, we pray, but mostly we pray a lot. We pray a lot. We're a tight family, so we miss him a lot.
The humero, or smoke maker, has the most honored position of the day. Using greasewood, the humero will produce the holy smoke that is believed to carry everyone's prayers to the heavens.
When people come up, they can do a blessing, and then just kind of take in the smoke. And what they usually do is make the sign of the cross as a blessing. And we keep it up pretty much all day long until we had to come down.
Now that the majority of the people have made it up Tortugas Mountain, hundreds gather to take part in the Mass given by the bishop. After Mass, it's lunchtime, and even with no gas or electricity, many still make do to have a traditional Southwest meal. It's also time for the people to start work on their quiotes, or walking sticks. A long-time tradition, the quiotes are made from yucca stalks. They will be used for the walk down the mountain and will later act as an offering to the Virgin. Traditionally, the people will stay on the mountain until sundown, but many will begin the walk down early. Though the walk down is less physically challenging, many find out it is much more dangerous. As the pilgrims make their return, food preparation at the Casa de Comida is still ongoing.
See, it's important that we make a crust.
Albóndigas, or little meatballs, are being made for a traditional dish that will be served the following day.
Eat that.
After all the ingredients are all mixed in, the rolling of the albóndigas begins. Many have been doing this since they were very young.
She's been doing it a long time. Long time.
Including Lupe Dominguez Flores.
Well, right now I'm 63. I think making albóndigas, you start about 8 years old. And you start making one at a time, and of course you make very big ones.
Lupe learned how to make albóndigas from her mother, who was very particular on how they were made.
She would go around checking everybody's meatballs, and of course they were about this big. And she go like this, and goes, they're too big. So you can tell. They flatten out. They have a lot of, it's just too big. It's not compacted. And she says they would dissolve because they cook all night long.
With good intentions at heart, Lupe doesn't shy away from letting others know if they are making their albóndigas correctly or not.
Hey, they're doing good.
Just as her mother did in years past.
This one's kind of big. Kind of big.
It's pretty much all the ones in the cold.
Okay, here, let's go. That's the perfect size?
Told you to come.
All right?
I told you.
All right, there you go. But you're doing good. You're right. Are you gonna put them closer? See, you can put them a lot closer, okay? But I gave you a muestra. Good job. They're doing a lot better this year than last. ¿Cuándo un año? Estaban los trays and I had to redo them. Look at you. You are doing great. Because she'll make me do them again.
Well, then you'll do them again.
Okay. You'll always have one or two that says, I don't care.
In the end, differences are put aside, and the corporation and its volunteers work together to make this Tortugas delicacy. After all, to make this many, every helping hand is crucial and deeply appreciated.
One time, my cousin and I counted all these albóndigas, and we counted over 14,800 albóndigas. We have trays and trays and trays of them.
The albóndigas are then boiled all night in broth that is made from the bones of a butchered cow. This traditional tasty dish will be ready to serve to thousands the following day. Now after sunset, 5 large luminarias are lit in front of La Casa del Pueblo. This is a signal to the capitanes that are still on the mountain to start leading the people back down. A large luminaria on top of the mountain is lit by one of the capitanes to show that they received the signal. The pilgrims begin walking down the 3 trails, lighting smaller luminarias. The luminarias take the shape of a cross. This amazing sight can be seen throughout the entire Las Cruces community. As the procession nears Tortugas, a large bonfire of yucca is lit in an area in front of La Casa del Pueblo. Now, everyone waits. Then, emerging from the dark night, they arrive. Led by singers and village elders, the procession circles the bonfire and proceeds to the doors of La Casa del Pueblo. The cacique then knocks at the door with his quiote. But the door does not open. They then circle back around the bonfire. But again, no one answers. The whole procession is repeated for a third and final time. They say this ritual recalls the 3 times Juan Diego presented himself to the Bishop of Mexico before his story of Our Lady of Guadalupe was believed. This time, when the cacique knocks, he is answered.
A nuestra Santa Madre María. Si no lo supere, no venire.
The pilgrims, now honored with the title of abuelos or grandfathers of the pilgrimage, place their quiotes inside La Casa del Pueblo as an offering to Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, which indicates that they have completed their promesa to climb the mountain. The last day of the fiesta is a day full of dancing, music, and food. Unlike other fiestas, you won't find food vendors, beer tents, or sponsorship banners here. This fiesta is not intended to be a party or to make money. Instead, this fiesta is entirely dedicated to celebrating their Lady. Throughout the day, 4 sets of dancers perform in the vicinity of the church, all unique in their own way. Also, many stop into the Casa de Comida to get a free traditional meal,
We'll be back with some fresh.
including the featured dish, albóndigas. This entire 3-day fiesta is vital to the community and its people.
Well, it's kind of like the lifeblood of the village of Tortugas. The village itself looks forward to putting it on, and the corporation looks forward to putting it on. and continuing the tradition. We try to do this fiesta in the same manner that our forefathers did it, so that my grandkids can experience the fiesta the same way that I experienced it, that my dad experienced it.
People always associated the Fiesta of Tortugas as the beginning of the Christmas season.
People that have moved out come from all over California, Chicago, New York, Arizona, different places, and it brings the whole community together.
It is a time when the families get together and a time when the community dances together and celebrates together.
No matter what your color is, no matter what your religion or whatever, they come, they participate, they all go up the mountain, they see what's going on and everything, and they like it, they keep coming back.
But this is definitely one of the oldest traditions and probably one of the ones that people recognize every year.
What this festival does to the city of Las Cruces, and not just the city of Las Cruces, but the entire area, is that it maintains the culture and values of this community. And it's festivals like this that just reminds us of our history and our past.
It's our Indian tradition. You know, we've got to keep it up.
Keeping this fiesta alive over the years has been very tough, but for this tradition to sustain for generations to come, the organization will have to overcome their biggest challenges yet. Whether you're for it or against it, technology and growth is inevitable to the Las Cruces area. Though technology and construction is nothing new, smaller communities rich in culture like Tortugas are having a tougher time adjusting to the changes.
We're struggling with modernization, and it's always going to be a struggle.
Back when I was younger, a lot of this land from the A Mountain to Tortugas was empty, you know. Now there's a lot of, you know, buildings going up and the lights up here, and, you know, we've got people with cell phones and all kinds of different things.
There's so many lights and everything, like on the 11th of December when they light up the bonfires and everything, they're not so visible like they used to be.
With all the city lights around here, they don't see the bonfires. So now we use cell phones. Have you lighted up? You know.
We're lit up.
Years ago, women could not wear pants when climbing the mountain. They could only wear dresses or skirts. They used to light the luminarias on the mountain using tires until the pueblo decided to stop because it was environmentally unsafe. And the capitanes used to have more authority over the pilgrims.
Given what they call a vara, and that's their authority. And whenever they were like out of line, they were actually kind of whip you with it. And so everybody's so happy that that was kind of discontinued.
These traditions have died out because of the changes in society, but the biggest changes have taken place in the kitchen. Before, everything was done manually, but with new modern-day appliances, cooking became a whole lot easier. Whether modernization tarnishes the traditions of the fiesta or not is debated within the organization.
I think there are certain changes, but you can't change everything, because once you lose or you fail to follow through with a custom and a tradition, it will get lost.
It can be good and it can be bad, you know. It's just we have to adapt, you know, and do what we can.
As with most nonprofit groups, one concern is commonly shared.
We're very poor in terms of having any funds at all, so the only two fundraisers we have are 2 enchilada dinners that we have, one in the spring and one in the fall.
You definitely have a thing that involves money, because to feed all those people and to keep this thing going is hard.
We don't have any big donors and never have had. Would be nice if we had a sugar daddy, so to speak, but we don't have one.
Even the recent financial crisis has found its way to the small village in southern New Mexico.
Right now with the economy is one of those. It's one of those that the money's not coming in as the flow that we should. This year it's particular.
This year's been very slow. We haven't gotten that many donations.
We have had problems in raising funds. It's always difficult.
The economy has had is taking its toll on us.
As with any organization, internal problems can also play a toll.
We have a lot of members, but they don't come through until the 12th of December. Now, then they're members. But during the whole year that we have the rosaries, we have enchiladas and all that, they're not there.
I'm getting a heart attack. So certain people come here that don't normally come.
I was here Saturday.
Me dijeron.
We have to depend on volunteers. We have to depend on people that we ask to come and help us, and
But out of all the issues threatening the fiesta, one stands out above the rest. For the fiesta to survive for generations to come, it will all fall on the shoulders of one group, and it's not the organization, the church, or the community, but rather the children.
Well, they're the ones who are going to take up, after us.
I think they're also suffering from one thing that all organizations in this country suffer for, is if then when they take a look at their group, whether you're talking about an archaeological society or a historical society or any kind of society of anything, they look around and all their group members are old and are dying off. And it's hard to get the young people into it.
One of the difficulties with the younger generation is that they are faced with a lot of different things within our society today that 10, 20, 30 years ago didn't even exist. There are cell phones and text messaging and all that sort of thing that wasn't around before. There are a lot of distractions for them. So it's more difficult for us to get and retain their interest in the cultural traditions of the tribe.
The younger generation has to be taught what it is about. They have to start them from like those little dancers down below, my granddaughter here. You have to start them out, show them what goes on, and be able to take them with you and show them the respect for the Virgen and so forth, the respect for the elders, the dancers, and everybody. It is something that when we leave, I want them to take over my grandkids. I want them to do for themselves so they can know the bond that holds this village together.
A lot of it depends on the parents, If the parent lets them sit in front of the TV and play games and all that, we try to get our grandkids involved. And, I have 4 grandkids, and all 3 of them will be here. They'll be out here, even if they have to wash dishes, rake leaves or whatever, when they could be home playing a game.
Katie and Felipe's grandson Stephen is definitely a prime example of getting children involved from a young age.
It's what I grew up with, my family grew up with, and it's just a tradition I would like to continue. I hope kids my age, or seeing me at least, help out a lot and are coming to this and at least volunteering and stuff to help out and continue the tradition.
My great-grandfather, when he was, before he passed away, I promised him that I would do this every single year. And it's just a promise that I probably won't ever break. If you kind of look around, like to see who's helping out in the kitchen and stuff, I'm probably one of the youngest people.
It seems to always be a thing where I'll talk to people at Tortugas, and yes, they danced when they were young boys or whatever, and then when they got older and being a teenager and then to college or to workforce and other things, they just sort of let it go.
I'll tell you from my own experience, when I was growing up, there was a period where I went away for a little bit because it wasn't cool to be part of the Native American traditions. So I kind of stayed away, but then as you get older, you find that you're missing something and you come back, and that's usually what happens. It happened to my dad, and it's happened to a lot of people where they go away and then they come back and know that there's richness in this.
If we start acting now, it'll keep on, and I hope it does, because it's just a great event. I hope that my kids get to do this.
So hopefully, in 20, 30 years, this tradition won't die out like many others have.
It would be really a heartbreaking thing.
Only time will tell what the future holds for the fiesta.
We've already been through several hundred years of these celebrations, so I don't see it dying out. Whether it keeps the same form that they have now, I don't know, but I don't see it dying out.
The Guadalupe Day ceremonies are now coming to an end. A procession is led by the current mayordomos carrying the image of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe through the streets of the village. This will be their final task as mayordomos. Each group of dancers takes their turn in giving low bows of homage to the image. At the halfway point, they stop. It is here when the current mayordomos are relieved of their duties and the new mayordomos take over.
De parte de la corporación, queremos darles la bienvenida a los mayordomos nuevos. También queremos darles las gracias a los mayordomos del año pasado.
For the next year, they will have the challenging task of organizing next year's fiesta. With all the changes that take place with an ever-growing community, it is nice to know that at least once a year, we don't have to go far to remember its roots.